Okay, I've done a little more research on this set that I brought out on my last Atwater Kent radio video. This is a PT-14 PT-8021. I think I said 8033 in the last video, but I really couldn't see the model number very well when I was filming it. But that's what it is. It's an 8021. It's from 1958, and I've done some research on it, and I've seen some other people on Video Karma that have actually restored these, and that makes more sense with the 1958 period, with printed circuit board in play here, and just kind of the overall layout looks like something from that time period, much like the Sylvania set I restored last winter, and then of course Philco with their Predicta sets at the time. Just the same general kind of concept of constructing a television set. So what I'm doing right now is I've got the Sencor CR70 out, and the tube in this set is a 14 ATP4. And as you can see here, what's interesting is it's got an 8.4 volt filament voltage as opposed to the usual 6.3. So got the machine set up here. I've got filament on 8 volt, so we're going to fire it up and set our filament voltage to 8.4 volts. Get it up here a little bit. And it should be about 8.4 volts. And yeah, it looks like we got filament glow in there. That's good. Like I said, when I picked this set up, got it off Craigslist. When I went over to the fellow's home to pick it up, he did have it up and playing. He didn't have a signal applied to it, but it did get a raster. So I know the tube's good. It's just a matter of, let's see how good it is, how good a shape it's in. Hopefully we'll have good cutoff response, and it'll be in the green, and then the live test on it's pretty good. Because the one thing that I did read about, or the general consensus on most of the forums, is these are tedious to restore, mainly because you have all these wires going into a printed circuit board, much like pulling the circuit board off a Predicta or some other sets like the Sylvania I did last year. And then this particular board has, I think, 2 or 3 places it's soldered to this actual frame. So getting this circuit board out and servicing that is probably going to be the most difficult piece to the restoration. Everything else, basically what we're looking at is a chassis from the top, because on the other side of this metal chassis back here is really, I think, nothing more than picture tube. We're going to find out, because I'm going to, hopefully in this video, we'll take this thing apart and see what's in there. But you know, mostly what you've got here is power supply, high voltage, and then the tuner section. And I suspect underneath there, there's quite a few wax or paper caps. But here's an electrolytic down here, okay, and there's an electrolytic here. So pretty standard setup. Those are probably our main filtering caps. We'll have to get those probably addressed. But I don't think this part really will be too hard to deal with. It'll be mainly this IF piece and the sound piece. This is where all your video, all your intermittent frequency, or all your IF and your sound is derived from. So anyway, so let's see how we're doing here. So we set to go here. All right, there's HK shorts, appears to be good. G1 shorts. That's good. Let's see what our cutoff is. Good cutoff response. And emission. Oh yeah, we're well into the good. That's good. And here's the life test. It's holding the life test really well. Okay, fantastic. So we know we've got one of the main components of doing a restoration. Obviously the picture tube. The other main piece is your flyback, and then of course making sure the yoke is operational. But about everything else can be addressed. Just hopeful that tuner's functional. I think what I'm going to do now is, I want to do now is put a signal on it and fire this thing up and see what kind of baseline we got to start working with here. Okay, we got her set up here to do a power up. I gotta make a correction. I was watching that last piece of the video back, and I think I said intermittent IF can, calling that IF can an intermittent frequency. Obviously I meant intermediate, so don't bust me on that. I say stupid things sometimes. Just ask my wife. How I've got this set up is cheater cord going through, connecting to the interlock. I've got the back connected to, I've got the tuner connected to the back, which is connected to this antenna, which actually came with this TV. I didn't show it before, but it simply screws onto the back. So, and we'll be broadcasting signal through the blonder tongue. So here we go. We're gonna fire it up. Power on. See what we get. And hopefully it didn't blow up. Like I said, I don't think I will. I've seen it running. So we're going with full power on it. And we got sound. And somewhat of a raster. Okay, I think I'm going to set the camera down and you can look at the picture while I fiddle with the controls. Looks like we got a vertical roll. That's contrast. That appears to be working. Looks like we don't have a horizontal lock. Adjusting the fine tuning. Volume control is extremely dirty. No, I'm not getting any horizontal at all. I'm still wanting to roll a little bit on me vertically. It's very touchy. I'm sure that has to do with bad caps on this PCB board or a bad tube or a combination of all of it. Yeah. Well, it is very touchy both on the vertical and the horizontal, and as you can see, I'm not getting a horizontal lock at all. This is brightness. That's good. So contrast and brightness appears to be working pretty well. Vertical's somewhat working. It still wants to roll after a while, even after I get it stopped. And I have no horizontal at all. And it doesn't seem to matter where I'm tuned into. Sometimes if I can move this antenna around a little bit, let's even get an adjustment on that. Doesn't seem to matter. Yeah, we got some problems here, but I don't think it's that big a deal. I think we can get these ironed out. Okay, so there you go. There's our baseline. But the good news is sounds appears to be okay. Picture tube's good and strong. The tuner's functioning. That's all good. So I think what I'm going to do is shut her down and begin taking this thing apart. I don't have the SAMs yet. It takes folder 396-3. I'm having trouble locating it, but I'll put the word out on Video Karma. I'm sure somebody's got it and I can get a copy of it hopefully. But I don't think disassembly of this is going to be too difficult. Okay, I don't think disassembly of this TV is going to be all that difficult. It looks like there's 8 screws that hold this metal outer shield on, and there's a couple of screws that looks like holds the front bezel that holds the safety glass on, and then there appears to be some 1/4-inch nuts that hold the whole chassis onto this wafer board type material. But it looks like I'm missing one of these screws because there's one missing right here. So get these undone, see if we can get this thing disassembled. And 2 more. That just pops right off. So, looks like we might need to take this bezel off first. It's like the same screw. Yeah, I believe that's going to do the trick. Oh yeah, okay. Not too bad. Couple of scratches on there, but it's got a little bit of a tent to it. It's held in by screws. Not too bad, not too dirty, not too much corrosion. That should buff out and clean up real nice. So, I think what I'm going to do is try to, first of all, locate that high voltage lead so I don't accidentally touch that booger. And because I think this handle has to be removed. Could be wrong, but I think this has to come off. It's just a couple of Phillips screws that holds it on. And voila. All right. Okay. So first thing I'm going to do, and if you're not used to working on TVs, folks, the one snake that can bite you is that high voltage lead to your picture tube. So I just had this thing on about, well, 10 minutes ago. So prudent thing to do is to discharge it. And I always do it a couple of times, just in case. Just in case you touch that accidentally, you don't want to get a good jolt. So, okay, I'm going to get the camera out so you guys can get a little better look. So, now here is the back side of that bottom chassis. Get some light over here for you. And you can see there's a lot of caps down in there. Some bumblebees. Power resistor there. Right there. There's the high voltage lead into the picture tube. More caps. More wax caps down in there. And then the on-off volume contrast pot. Okay. And there's the picture tube. And then here's the other side. I don't know if that's an audio output or a filtered choke. Can't really tell. And then there's, okay. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's a filtered choke, and then down lower down there is probably audio output. And some more wax caps. Looks like maybe a large yellow electrolytic down in there. That one right there. So he'll need to come out of there. All those caps will need to be changed, sure. And then here is that printed circuit board. And that tube's barely in there. I wonder if that even worked. Looks like there's 8 tubes on that board. And not really seeing a whole lot of brown burn. That's usually something you see a lot of, is right around down by those two pin sockets on these older type PC boards. You can see a lot of brown around them. But I don't know, this cap here appears to be a replacement. That appears to be tacked on. Come on, camera, focus in on that. I didn't want to show you that, but trust me, it looks like it's been tacked on. And this one may have been too. This one right next to it. This looks like a more of a, those look more modern. And maybe even that one there too. This guy right here. His connection looks a little bit like it was just tacked on. Somebody clipped the cap out and tacked it on. There's more of a cap you'd expect to see in this style of the circuit board. And there's a bunch of them down here. These are all in essence paper wax caps. That actually even looks like a Black Beauty. There was a Black Beauty on the underside of the chassis, and then this, is that a filament dropping resistor? I would say so. And pretty standard. Looks like there may be 20 to 25 wires that attach to these type of posts right here, coming from various parts of the set. The bummer about restoring these types of sets is literally getting at those, unsoldering those, if they're soldered, detaching them so that you can actually get this board out and away and work on it as an individual unit, which is what I intend to do unless I run into something that I can't see would prevent me from doing that. And this guy right here, he looks out of place too. I don't know if he's a replacement or not, but he doesn't look like he should be there. Big old orange drop cap like that. I could be wrong, but he looks like a replacement. So, looks like somebody's been in here for sure. 1, 2, 3, 4, maybe even 5 of these caps may not be original. Certainly these 2 orange drops are not. And this guy here doesn't look original either. But I am thinking this picture tube's original. I can't verify that, but it does not look to be, I can't really get at it, this camera in my hand, but, and I could find out as I get into this more that isn't the original tube. It's not that important. I've got the normal plastic yoke cover rot problem that holds these centering rings, and it looks like this has a width sleeve in it. This does not look like an ion trap magnet. It looks like it's just a band that holds this width sleeve in. Hopefully this is sturdy enough that I can work around it and not break it all apart. I've had that happen on a couple of my sets, and it's kind of a pain to try to fabricate something to replace that, the function of that. And then let's look at this little flyback, see what we got going on in here. Didn't look too bad. Looks like a good cleaning is in order, but I don't see a lot of, there's some melted wax may have came off that cap, or that donut I should say, but it looks okay. But that little flyback looks like it's in pretty good shape, just maybe a little cleaning. Horizontal output tube. There's the tuner. So, okay. Well, there's a look at what I'm getting ready to tackle as I get into it. I'll give you guys an update, but the first thing I need to get probably is the schematic for it, either the service manual or the SAMs, and then I don't know, probably what I'll tackle first is what I usually tackle first, and that's this board. Get this thing off there and get it out of there and get after it, and get that over with. Okay, more to come.